The U.S. government's advisory panel on dietary guidelines is suggesting a sugar tax as a way to cut down on sweets. What's their argument, and what's the initial reaction to the proposals?
Well, it's been fascinating over the last hour and a half or so since these guidelines came out, Mark, to see what's been going on. You immediately saw shares drop for companies ranging from Pepsi to Hershey. Markets were definitely watching this report because you saw a committee that really took its instructions to take a look, soup to nuts, of the food system in the U.S. quite seriously. They talked about red meat being cut down. They were talking about specific sugar targets for the first time ever. And they got into policy issues, including recommending sugar taxes. Now, in the last hour or so, I've just been speaking with Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack, and you can see things getting reeled back a bit. The government actually will put together the final recommendations later this year, and he says that he doesn't want the government to be coloring outside the lines. If they get too far afield into certain questions, the core mission from the statute of looking into actual recommendations for what you should and shouldn't eat could get obscured. So he wants to be a little more cautious than what the committee was originally saying.
Alan, what's the reaction from meat companies? Red meat doesn't do well in these guidelines, but the way we've been reading this so far, the companies may have dodged a bullet.
Well, there was some concern from meat lobbies that all meat was basically going to be frowned upon in these guidelines. And what you saw instead was really at the very beginning of them an explicit statement that lean meat can be part of a healthy diet. But at the same time, red meats, processed meats, were really looked down upon in these guidelines. And that has the industry concerned that in the end, this is an anti-meat set of recommendations. They're saying that it's contradictory since red meats can be lean meats. And you can see this talking point emerging over the next few months.
Alan, what happens now with these guidelines? In the end, how much do they really matter?
Well, where they matter is that this is something that is the basis of federal nutrition programs. This is something that is looked at as guidance for what is now My Plate, formerly the food pyramid. The icon is created from that. But at the same time, this bully pulpit from the committee can't be underestimated as a way to set discourse. Again, USDA and HHS, led by HHS, the Department of Health and Human Services, will come up with their guidance at the end of the year. May well be much narrower than what we saw today. But this doesn't get taken back. This is now part of the discussion.
Alan, on another topic, today you were at the USDA's first forecast for crop production this year. What do they see farmers planting this spring?
Yes, it's been a busy as well as a cold day in Washington. The USDA released its first forecast for crop acreage this year. They saw that corn, wheat, and cotton acreage is all going to be down. That wasn't a surprise given the low prices that we've been seeing. But we also saw a reduction in soybean acreage, which is a little bit of a surprise since a lot of farmers are considering switching from corn to soybeans.